before we get started, I want to give a quick get well shout out to my cat Miles. And when I say my cat, I mean literally my cat Miles, who at the present time is going through a tough illness. So if I'm not my energetic self, that's the reason why. So I'll get well, Miles. Hope to have you home soon. But I'm not trying to end up like Owen Wilson and Marley and me. I can't stomach that. Let's get it cracking.
Are you working? What kind of work do you do?
Coffee with Cold Train. Shout out to Sleep Night. Doc, the whole GYGB family. We got a smorgasbord. Before we get into it, though, let me get into some emails. Stacy from Vancouver loves the show. She says she can't afford cable, but she loves GYGB Boxing because this is where she comes to get our boxing coverage, which means a lot to us. And also, she just had one complaint, and that's for us to keep it more consistent. Well, that's why we're doing Coffee with Cold Train. You know, it was a group decision that we needed to cover a lot of these other fights that we don't get a chance to cover during the regular week of a big fight. So, and talk about prospects and some other things that goes on in the sport. So that's why we're here. And you want to hear Annie Up by MOP and Shut 'Em Down by Public Enemy as an intro on our show. That's coming soon, and I got you covered on that. Thank you. Keep holding us down, Stace. Peace to Vancouver. Swapna Patel from Bangladesh. Shout out to Bangladesh. You guys are horrible. I don't like the fact you talk over each other, but I have to admit it's entertaining. Well, are you not entertained, Swapna? Because that's all that matters in him, right? So I'm glad we can entertain you. Keep tuning in. Much love. Peace. Steve from UConn. Who's the hottest prospect in the game? He asks who's the hottest prospect in the game. You know, I either go Ortiz or Lopez, and I think I'm going to go Victor Ortiz. The reason why I think Victor Ortiz, in my opinion, got an easier path to become a champion. I think the junior welterweight division is very mediocre. No disrespect to none of them cats that's boxing up there. But I think Lopez got more of a tough of a road to climb. But I think the junior welterweight is wide open. Other than Ricky Hatton, who's not fighting no prospect like Ortiz, you know. And rightfully so. He's proven himself. He's you know, chasing that change down. So, you got the Kendall Holtz, the Tim Bradleys, the Junior Witters, the Juan Urangos. Is Ortiz ready to beat those guys right now? I don't know that yet, but I think in a year he will be. And I just think he got a swag about him, man. Gangsters aren't made, they born. And I think he got that gangster in him. He reminds me of another fighter from Oxnard. Shout out to Oxnard. And y'all know who that is. The young dude that, you know, that 4-3 Hall of Famers before the age of 25. The dude that had white tigers in his house and all that kind of stuff. And that's my dude, Ferocious Fernando Vargas. You know, hopefully his career don't end up like Vargas, but I like that swag that I see out of Victor Ortiz, like a Fernando Vargas. So that's who my prospect is, Victor Ortiz. I just got him bodying everything at junior welterweight.
Now, got my man Jadakiss working on an album. He's coming back with the album. He's been going since, I remember we listened to Jadakiss' album when we went out to see Bernard Hopkins versus Oscar De La Hoya. Shout out to the Mexicans who was just throwing chairs after Oscar lost. You know, that was a great moment in history. But, you know, Jada had a song on that album. What was the name? Oh, it was Why. You know, he was like, why did Kobe go up in her Raw? You know, he was like, why? Why is Roy Jones still fighting? Roy Jones, this is no disrespect to Roy, one of the greatest athletes ever. I'm talking about sports in general. I'm not talking about just boxing. One of the greatest athletes ever. Why is this man still fighting? You know, he was blessed with the gifts of just raw athleticism, speed, very unorthodox. I got it from a chicken hawk. You know, his whole style is nothing orthodox about it. In order to proceed in any sport into your late 30s and 40s, a la Michael Jordan, like even a la Kobe. Kobe's an old 30. He's been in the league for a long time. You got to change your game up. You know what I'm saying? LeBron can't play at this pace, or Wade. They can't play like this into their 30s. their body's going to get a lot of wear and tear. You got to start learning how to play with your back to the basket. You know what I'm saying? If LeBron played, I'm all over the place, but follow me. If LeBron played with his back to the basket from the low post, if he mastered the turnaround jump shot and was able to facilitate the offense from the low post, Cleveland would not be able to be beaten because he would draw the double team on the low post and hit everybody for easy layups. And then he would catch on the low post. He has the baseline to seal off the other defender. Jump shots all day. Simple mathematics. Yeah, I coached the Winslow Township Basketball League, but that's another story. Same thing with D-Wade. They'll get there. But Roy Jones has never developed a precise jab. He's never developed precise defense. He doesn't clench properly. He doesn't do the things that's necessary to carry his career into his late 30s and early 40s. Being said, Roy Jones possesses the power and speed to beat fighters at certain levels. But to beat elite fighters, he would have to change his game plan up some because he's lost his speed, and he lost his quickness and his athleticism.
Results, Lucian Boot, TKO against Zuniga. It was on Showtime. Boot, look, I rag on him a lot, but he's an alright little fighter. Got a little slippery little fight game. He had a hiccup early this year, but, you know, look, man, this is boxing. Stuff happens, so props to Boot, 4-round TKO. Hopefully he can get the winner, Taylor Froch. Not so lucky for our dude, Enzo Martinelli. I've never been sold on. You know, I always thought fight like a caveman. When he got aired out by David Haye in 3 rounds. And he lost to Ola Efalaba, who was hanging out in Wildcard Gym with Freddie Roach. So obviously that paid off for him after he trashed Enzo Martinelli in a TKO stoppage. You know, so Enzo, get your slickness up, baby. Moving on to the big result of the weekend, which was fast, speedy, up-and-coming lightweight phenom Amir Khan versus future Hall of Famer Marco Antonio Barrera, one of the baddest Mexican fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves. But looked like he, you know, like every other great fighter that stays too long, you know, he was embarrassed by a younger fighter. Now, Barrera wasn't embarrassed like that. He was in the fight. He was a live dog. In fact, he had his moments in the fight. You know, he stunned Amir a few times. And that's a lot of that got to do with because Amir comes straight into punches, a la Juan Diaz. And his chin is a little shaky. You know, I saw some oodles and noodle legs out there. But, you know, I think a lot of that had to do with, though, to be fair, he didn't respect Barrera's power. And I hear a lot of rumors about, well, if the cut didn't happen. Well, look, if Iran Barkley's eye wasn't hanging out of his face when he fought James Toney, would that fight been any closer? I raise my hand, no. Well, Bernard Hopkins fought Winky Wright, and it was a headbutt in that fight. Would that fight been any closer? I raise my hand, no again. Julio Cesar Chavez fights a younger De La Hoya, like Amir Khan fighting an older, legendary Mexican fighter, Marco Antonio Barrera. And when De La Hoya fought Chavez, Chavez had a cut from a previous fight. He opened the cut up. Chavez was leaking, and you heard all this stuff about, well, if he didn't open the cut up, no, De La Hoya would have beat Chavez seven days a week and twice on Sunday. So I'm not trying to hear none of that stuff. The younger fighter deserves to win. He proved himself. He was the faster, stronger, you know, more live fighter. And, you know, Barrera is going to continue to fight when people are making excuses like the ones, you know, I've been reading and hearing. So, you know, props to Amir Khan. He did what he was supposed to do. Let's talk about the landscape of the lightweight division now. And let's hopefully Marco Antonio Barrera leaves boxing so we can remember him as the great fighter that we adored and became accustomed to loving.
Takes us to Roy Jones versus Omar Sheika. You know, a fight that I don't even know if it's televised. You know, the route that Roy's career is going. You know, I don't think it's embarrassing to him because he's still making money off of it. He's still doing what he loves. But it's sad for us to watch him at such an extremely high level to fighting in obscurity at times. And then, you know, taking these fights when I think he has a brilliant mind where he can pursue, you know, managing music career, managing fighters, you know, establishing businesses. You know, Roy's a smart athlete, man. You know, he transcended the sport. He's one of the few boxers who was able to sell out arenas fighting nobodies, but he's not at that point anymore. Omar Sheika is a name, but he's not a name. At this age, what are you fighting for? If you can't win a title, you don't need the money. Why? As Jadakiss would say.
This Saturday, you got Vitaly Klitschko taking on Juan Carlos Gomez, former cruiserweight champion. If you don't know about him, he's basically known for fighting Oliver McCall. Recently. Yes, that Oliver McCall. That's the same thing I said. Yeah, that Oliver McCall. I got Vitaly winning by TKO, putting on a boxing masterpiece. And it's at 5 o'clock on ESPN, so don't forget. Be like me and, thinking the fight coming on 10 o'clock and you go on GYGB Boxing and you see all types of comments on what happened. So, and you also got Roy Jones Jr., Pensacola in the house. Roy Jones. We'll be hearing about him, how he's back and claiming he's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter after he beat up Omar Sheika.